Welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, a podcast where we teach speakers how to land paid speaking engagements and corporate contracts. Each week, we deliver high-quality content that teaches you how to level up your speaking business. Be sure to join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group after having your mind blown by this information-filled episode. Now, here's your host, Ashley Kirkwood, lawyer and professional speaker. This is the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
Hello. My name is Ashley Kirkwood. I'm the founder of Speak Your Way to Cash and Mobile General Counsel, which is a law firm for entrepreneurs that are growing big brands. I spend a ton of my time speaking to business owners on a legal strategic level and also coaching my clients in Speak Your Way to Cash about how to grow their speaking practices through landing corporate contracts and just all around business strategy, sales strategy, helping them to elevate their brand strategically. And hello from Mississippi. Hello. So glad you guys are joining us. Today, I want to talk about something that I have not talked about in a while. I am the founder of Mobile General Counsel, but I am not the only attorney over there. We have really hardworking attorneys that help to make the firm run and grow so that I can really focus on making sure that the companies that I manage and run are doing their best in all areas, right? Financially, internal promotion of our employees, and then just running the gamut. So I don't talk a lot about what we do at Mobile General Counsel. Also, owning a law firm means that I can't divulge certain successes and wins that we have helped clients to achieve. But there are some things that I can say. And so this is for everyone who's a speaker, a thought leader, an expert, an entrepreneur. We are going to cover today the silent killer of a lot of businesses, specifically those businesses that require you to provide a service. I'm talking to people who literally sell their intellectual property. So if you are someone who comes up with products and services, and then you have to sell those products and services, that's who I'm talking to today. Also, anyone who has come up with an idea, a good idea, that hasn't fully executed it because of fear, doubt, not understanding the value of it, not knowing exactly which way to go. I'm talking to you today. So if that's you, then you want to stay tuned, okay? Because we're going to go over some things. And what we're going to talk about is the value of your intellectual property and why I personally believe that most business owners, particularly those that look like me, have been bamboozled and tricked out of understanding the value and the weight of their thoughts and their words, okay? So if y'all are still with me, just drop a with me in the comments because we're going to dive into this. And here's what prompted this very important discussion. Here's what led me here today to even talk about this. This morning, I'm reading a book about Black wealth. And one of the women that they talk about in the book is Mary Ellen Pleasant. And she has an incredible story. Essentially, she leveraged the gold rush to make millions of dollars and then consistently allowed her money to work for her by way of investment, being a lender, and all this cool stuff. The interesting thing was Mary Ellen Pleasant was born in 1814. So this is a wealthy Black woman. 1890s or so is when tons of wealth by this point in the 1890s. She was born in 1814 though. Think about that. Black woman in 1814. And what she had to do in order to keep her wealth going and to continue to do business, she described herself as a capitalist in the purest form, but, well, not in what we consider the purest form today, but back then she considered herself a capitalist, but she was also an abolitionist. She provided opportunities for others. She was very active in helping to free captured slaves. She was just all around a phenomenal woman. But one thing that she had to do, okay, in order to keep her money, her wealth, and her safety, was she had to operate in the shadows. For a large portion of her life, history records that she actually pretended to be like a housekeeper and the help. Right? Like that's what she basically had to do. And she developed strategic alliances with men that allowed her to keep her secret wealth, but helped her to do commerce. Because, back then as a Black woman, you can just go out on the streets and say, hey, I'm a millionaire. This is what I want to do. She had to operate in the shadows. What I loved about how history records the strategic moves that this woman made in the 1800s was, I loved how, even though she had to operate in the shadows, even though when people saw her, they couldn't see the wealth that she had, even though when they saw her, they made up all these like super crazy tales about how she got her money, saying that she did it by way of, having inappropriate romantic relationships with various men, saying she did it by way of voodoo, saying she did all these different things. And there was a point where someone interviewed her and she said that she didn't waste her time coming against all the lies that were out there about her because the truth can't be tarnished. So she was like, why am I wasting my time defending all these lies when I, in reality, live in my truth? I actually have all the money. I actually have been able to flip my investments and make them profitable. I actually have people that work for me and don't even know. A lot of the men, one of the strategies that she utilizes, she actually lended money out to other people. But the people that she utilized as the lenders, the front men, didn't even always know that she was who they were working for. I bring this up because, and this is what I mean by the value of your intellectual property. A lot of people do not value their intellectual property because other people haven't validated who they are public. What do I mean by this? I mean that we live in a society that if it doesn't get 100 likes, it doesn't matter. That if you don't have millions of dollars in the bank, you're not worthy. If people aren't shouting your name from the rooftop, you're not popular. People don't think you have a sustainable business unless you've hired hundreds of people that they can see and verify, unless you're, it is all about public validation. Right? The reason social media is so addictive and so popular is because it allows you in an instant to put up something and get a like. And that like makes you feel good. There's been studies that show that it actually gives a little bit of dopamine. And so you not only do you post or look at the comments, but you post to see how many people liked it. It's all a game, but it's all about external validation. But what I loved about this sister who was making millions, right? If you take the value of her net worth back then and equate it to the value of today, they said at one point she had gotten up to 4.2 million. And I don't even think that was the height of her wealth, but no one knew that she was the mastermind behind it. They made a lot of people that did know she had money, and there were very few, made up a lot of lies about how she got there. Why? Because of who she was. So, and let's be clear, she was a Black woman. In society, I'm not going to go too deep into history on y'all today, but there is a point in history, right? We're talking 1800s here and beyond. There was a point in history where it was illegal. Stay with me on this. This is Mary Ellen Pleasant. I love this woman. Mary Ellen Pleasant, millionaire back in the 1860s, born in 1814, lived till 1904. There was a point in the 1860s and 70s where it was illegal. Think about this. For a Black person to testify in court against a white man. Think about this. It was illegal for people who look like me and who look like a lot of you watching to testify, to speak openly and publicly against the dealings of a white man. Now here, I'm going to bring this full circle for you all. This is why this is so powerful. America legislated us minimizing and diminishing our voice, made it illegal. Okay. If you talked back to the slave owner, what happened? There was physical pain attached to that. And when there wasn't physical pain, the law, they legalized racism in this country, made it illegal. And so today, although not technically illegal, there are still power dynamics that make you believe that your voice doesn't have power. And let me tell you how it's perpetrated. Okay. Hopefully you all are with me on this. I don't want to offend any older generations, but I'm just going to say this. Me and my husband, we had brunch at the Four Seasons recently. And we go, we love the Four Seasons, but we really like the Peninsula. That's where we like to eat. We had brunch at the Four Seasons recently, and there was a white family sitting next to us, and they had their kids out. Their kids, I kid you not, were doing backflips in the restaurant. Backflips, in the restaurant. And so they're doing backflips, no mask on. They are just kicking it. Nobody says anything to them. Nobody says anything to them. And in fact, when the little white girl goes up to her mom, she appeared to be white. Now she could have been, I don't know. She could have been, but she appeared to be white. The point of the story is still going to hold true, because if you grew up the way I grew up as a Black girl in Chicago, Illinois, or in America, you're going to relate to this. So stay with me on this and let me know if you've ever had an experience like this. These kids are wilding out, right? She goes to her mom and she says, "Mom, there was a lady giving me a bad look." And her mom looks to her and says, "If anyone gives you a bad look or tries to basically inhibit you from living your freest, fullest life, pandemic or not, you come directly to me." Now look, Two lessons here. If me and my husband had a moment, you know, when like if there were any other, I feel like Black family in the restaurant, we would have had a moment. We would have looked at each other like, do you see what's going on here? Do you see what's going on here? Now, Black children, overwhelmingly, let me know if this is you. What would have happened if you would have gone to a nice restaurant with your parents and you would have decided to walk around the restaurant, do backflips in the restaurant, just live your best life? And really, you're being a kid. You're being a kid. Now, contrast this with this. We go out somewhere else. We're in Naperville. We're at the Apple store. These are things that I think about because although they are individual occurrences, they do speak to a larger thought process that was ingrained within me. We go to the Apple store. A young Black boy, probably like 2 years old, does something, gets cursed out, snatched up, told to sit down. I've seen this so many times, and it's not about the parenting styles or any of that. And I personally don't believe in snatching up your children, telling them to shut up. I don't believe in any of that. That's just my personal belief. I do not believe in that. But the point is, sometimes the reason why we can't speak up and value our voice and value our intellectual property and value what we put into the marketplace is because our history tells us it is dangerous to speak up, particularly when talking to white men of power. It is dangerous to utilize your voice in nice circumstances. And the only reason why you would feel you need to act differently in a particular restaurant or in a nice restaurant or in a nice store is if you don't think you belong. Because at any other time, follow me on this. If I'm in my house, what am I doing? I'm doing whatever I want to do. Why? Because it's my house. I own it. I feel comfortable there. Many of you cannot utilize your voice and sell your intellectual property at the highest level because you don't feel at home in some of the situations that you need to go into. You don't feel comfortable in the boardroom, so you hide who you are. You don't feel comfortable going public on social media and talking about your thoughts, so you hide who you are. And at the base level of all of it is fear that has not only been taught to us sometimes by our parents and those that came before us, but it has been legislated into the fabric of this country. So here's what I want you to do. For anyone, before you get to a place and you have to present your offering, or you're going to decide to go live on social media, or you're going to pitch something to a large corporation or a client, I want you to get a really clear understanding of who you are. And I need you to challenge every alternative fact that has brought you to this point. What do I mean by that? Whether you were raised to have confidence or not, there were things that were spoken over you and into your life that may be inhibiting you from getting to where you need to go. There is this little bitty voice that may be telling you, you know what? I don't think I'm good enough for that. And here's how you know it. Anybody who has something that they really want in their life, just drop want in the comments. Just drop want in the comments. Like, you have anything you want professionally or personally, just drop want in the comments. Now, there are some things that you may be desiring that you want and that you wish you could have and that you believe are for you. And when you see other people getting certain things, you're like, man, I really want that. I think that would be great. I think I love that. I think I want to have that. If there's anything that you want in your life, right? And I want you to, if you had a sheet of paper, this is the exercise I want you to do. On one side of the sheet of paper, I want you to write want, W-A-N-T, right? You're just going to do right down the middle, right? So want on one side of the sheet of paper, and then work on the other side of the sheet of paper. Here's how I know what you really want. Not based on what you put on the want side, but based on what's on the work side, the gap. And if this is making sense to you all, if this is good, then just drop it in the comments, like good to go or good. The gap between what you want and you achieving what you want, the work, is belief, okay? The gap is belief. The gap is belief. So if you want something, you're going to do whatever it takes within the bounds of the law. I am an attorney, obviously, whatever it takes to get it. And oftentimes the reason why the belief piece of it is so difficult is because we have taught, and it has been legislated into the fabric of this country, that our intellectual property doesn't have value. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. Real quick, I would love if you applied to work with us at Speak Your Way to Cash. In fact, I have created a short application that would let me know if you are the right fit. If you are a speaker looking to land 5- and 6-figure speaking contracts, you should 100% apply to be in the Speak Your Way to Cash Academy. And here's the beautiful thing. If you get accepted into the Academy, you are automatically able to listen to a 2-hour training where I break down the paid method that myself and my clients use to land 5- and 6-figure corporate speaking contracts. All you need to do to apply is go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/apply. Go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/apply. Again, go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/apply. Now, if you want to make it even easier and you're already on your phone, pull out your phone and text me. That's right. You can now text me directly to apply and to learn more about working with Speak Your Way to Cash. So you can text me at 312-847-4590. Again, 312-847-4590. Just text me apply to 312-847-4590. All right, guys, let's get back to this great episode. So the gap, here's what I said. Write on one side of the piece of paper, want. On the other side of the piece of paper, write work. That gap between what you want and the work that it takes to get it, doing the work that it takes to get it, is belief. So if you find that you're always wanting things and you're not going after them, you're not investing properly to get the knowledge you need to get it, you're not putting in the work consistently to get it, there's typically a belief issue there. There's a belief issue there. And why is there a belief issue there? Well, it's a lot of reasons. Like, it could be societal. It could be how you were raised. The beautiful thing, though, is you have the power as an adult to change your belief system, to rewire your belief system. And here's something else that I wanted to make sure I covered today, because I've been using the word intellectual property, and some people are watching and they're like, okay, well, what is intellectual property and why is it so valuable? If you sell your services, your intellectual property can be the books that you create, the frameworks that you come up with, the business names and not just ideas, but the business name that you've invented, right? And that you've come up with, that you have thought of. It is essentially your thoughts. It is essentially your thoughts in action, right? So my intellectual property, I physically own several trademarks. I'm going to own a lot more by the end of the year. That's intellectual property. Mobile General Counsel does trademark law, so we can help you with that. If you have a business name or a slogan or something that you do not own, meaning you have not filed a federal registration for it, you need to do that. But here's the other thing about intellectual property. Your intellectual property will only have value. The thoughts that come out of your mind will only have value if you all have questions on Instagram and you're listening to this, just drop those things, use that little question box and drop them there and I'll answer your questions. And same for Facebook. Your intellectual property will only have value. The thoughts that come out of your mind will only have value if you put in the work to put them in actual form. So it can't just be your idea. But the reason why I need you all to understand the pure value of your ideas is because once you do, you can price your intellectual property appropriately. And here's what I mean by that. I work with so many speakers and service providers that come to the firm and their prices are simply too low. And although I will tell them my pricing structure and how we do things and how we structure our deals so that we're not overworking and having to serve thousands of clients to reach our revenue goals or hundreds of clients to reach our revenue goals, the problem is they won't always just take my word for it. So even if I say increase the price, most people won't increase the price because there's a belief issue. But then we have everyone who goes through the Speak Your Way to Cash Academy do something called market research. And once they get out there and start talking to their ideal clients, the people they want to sell to, and they learn what these people have paid others in the past for what they've been doing for $2,000 or $3,000, then they begin to realize, oh, wow, this is the real deal. I really could be charging $65,000 to $75,000 a year for one company to license my course or my product or my training. I could do multi-six-figure licensing deals to sell my image, right? These are the types of things that are available to us if we value our intellectual property. And what gets a lot of people tricked up is they don't have the information to move forward. So they take a good idea and they put it in their back pocket because they don't have the confidence that they're going to be able to sell it or package it or produce it. But here's the thing. If you're watching this right now, you've now come into contact with someone that understands licensing, that understands packaging, that understands how to get paid to speak, how to land multi-six-figure image licensing deals, who's negotiated those deals and more. You know what I mean? So like at the point that you have now watched this video and you've seen me, there shouldn't be that big of an information gap. We have products and services and things that you can take advantage of to learn, to close the information gap. If you're watching this and you're a business owner and you don't have a trademark and you're like, but I don't know where to start. We have a DIY Get the Tea on Trademarks class, and we have a law firm. And guess what? Whether you buy our services or not, we've done a really great job of having outstanding clients that will always work with us. So we're good. I'm not saying it because we're in desperate need for clients. I'm saying it because the principle is if you want something, you have to put in some work. And that work will look like hiring someone who knows what to do next so you don't waste your time, or doing it on your own. It may take a lot of time, but even doing the wrong thing consistently will yield results. They may not yield the biggest, grandest results, but you're going to get somewhere just by consistently moving forward. Okay. So I don't want anyone, thank you so much. I don't want anyone to feel like, okay, I just don't know what to do with my life. You need to sit down and you need to write a list of what do you need to move forward. And let's break that down specifically. What do you need physically to move forward? Is there some investment you need to make in your health? What are you eating? What would help you eat better? If you don't have time, what can you utilize to make that transition? We love an air fryer. Okay. I hired Jackie Yvonne Nutrition, who told me a lot of quick meals I can make that'll make my life easier as I'm moving forward on my health journey. I bought a Peloton so I could do that. But there's like cheaper things that you could do. So, okay, physically, what do you need to do physically to move forward? Mentally, do you need a therapist? Okay. When you start looking at the lies that you have been told about yourself over time, you may realize I need to invest in my mental health. I've been told that my voice doesn't matter. And even if I wasn't told it verbally or audibly, I was told it in the television that I watch, the media that I'm accustomed to. I was told it because every time I talked to my mom growing up, she cut me off. I was told it because every time I went with a great idea to my auntie or my uncle or my grandma, they told me it wasn't good enough, or they told me to just get a job. Or there are ways that people tell you things without ever uttering the exact words. And those are the silent killers of faith, trust, and belief. And we as adults have a responsibility. If you're a child, it's really not your fault. But as an adult, oh yeah, we have a responsibility to unearth the things that have held us back and move forward. And we really don't have time for excuses because there are other generations depending on us. And I have to make sure, like when I was watching those kids walk around, I was like, man, Christella's sitting in her stroller. Well, she can walk. You want to walk around, Christella? She did. She walked around. And I had to realize, like, why is she in her stroller? Like, is there something to that? Am I unconsciously keeping my child from living a carefree life because of the messages I was given as a kid? Sit down, shut up, stay out of grown folks' business. Who heard those? If you heard those three things, sit down, shut up, stay out of grown folks' business, just drop a me in the comments. If your children are speaking to you, I used to always get marks on my report card. Oh, you talk too much, or, oh, you can talk a lot, or all these different things. I literally make a ton of money every year from talking, right? And so thank God my parents invested in that gift by sending me to debate camp, sending me to speech camp, flying me all around the world to compete on a global scale with speech and debate, so that I understood that my voice not only had value, but it had power, it had authority, and I could compete with it. Let me go here just for a minute, because we're talking about intellectual property. And one thing that really scares people, especially people who are raised a certain way, is competition. Okay. If you did competitive sports, you're already ahead of the game. I did competitive intellectual. So I don't know if you call it sports, but I did competitive speech, competitive debate, all of that. One thing that scares people as adults is competing. It sometimes can be scary to know that you're going to have to go head to head with other people. Number one, the only way you win when you have a contact sport is by having a belief that you are the obvious choice, even when you lose. because that validation doesn't need to be external. It needs to be internal. Okay. And so, so I'm seeing the me's come through. We've heard this. Sit down, shut up. Don't stay out of grown folks' business. But here's the thing. Some of us, every time we want to go and pitch a new concept or idea, every time we think about leaving our corporate job, that same narrative is in your head. Sit down, shut up, stay out of grown folks' business. That's above your pay grade. That doesn't concern you. Be very careful of how those messages that you were told as a child show up in your adult life. It was so freeing and refreshing for me seeing that family let that girl run rampant in the Four Seasons, not because I thought it was necessarily appropriate. You know, she should have had a mask and all that. Okay, I get it. But like the real beauty of it was they basically empowered their daughter to be at home at one of the nicest restaurants in the city. So when she grows up, she won't be impressed or intimidated by rooms. Okay, because I want everyone. And this is why at Speak Your Way to Cash Live, if you've ever come in the past, you have to come to this one. We've revamped the entire event because we're going to be dealing with some of these things. We have a dreamer's den, a language lab. Oh my gosh, we have a delivery suite. Like we are going to unearth some of the things that have been holding you back. Because guess what? I'm still going to give you the strategy for how to pitch a 6-figure contract and what you need to do and the language you need to have to move your sales conversations forward. I'm teaching all of that. But even if I gave you all those steps, if you've attended any of my events or taken any of my courses and you have not gotten paid to speak, it's a belief issue. And so we need to deal with the belief. We're going to deal with the strategy and we're going to deal with the belief. And I can guarantee you it's going to be life-changing if you lean into the experience. So I wanted to have this conversation with you all because here's the deal. If you're a service provider, your most valuable asset are the things that you create from your mind. You come up with a speech, you deliver that speech, that's your intellectual property. If you don't know how to get $15,000+ from that one speech live, and then allow that intellectual property to consistently make money for you over time, licensing it, selling it, putting it into a course. If you're not familiar with how to do that, how to make those transitions, how to value your intellectual property, you will not have long-term success as a business owner. Because guess what? Working for every dollar you earn is outdated and played out. Like, we can't do that long-term. One of the things we're doing right now, my husband and I, we're sitting down with our estate planning attorney, and we are going through and putting we're itemizing all of our assets in trust, and we're visualizing where our assets will be later on in our life. And we have to do this because we have to come up with an estate plan. And one of the things that I had to consider is, what am I going to leave my daughter? So the one of the questions on the questionnaire was like, okay, do you predict that you will be leaving in excess of $22 million in assets? Because if so, we need to shield your assets a certain way. We need to do the plan a certain way, all these different things, right? And I'm like, okay, one, I like that they asked me the question because so often people will look at, Chris and I, we still consider ourselves pretty young. I know we're getting older, but we consider ourselves pretty young. And people will look at us and they'll always be like, oh, wow, I can't believe you all do this. They don't even ask us these types of questions. So I like this situation we're in now. They're asking me the right questions. Will you be leaving in excess of 22 million? Because Ms. Kirkwood, we may need to, the right question. Right? Okay. So we're there. They asked the right question. But then we have to really think about it. If we're going to do that, how are we going to do it? Well, we're not going to earn it laboriously. I'm not going to work for every dollar that I earn in the sense of like getting on a stage or having to be at every time someone pays me, I have to show up live. The reason you don't want to do that, or the reason why I don't think it's smart to do that or wise to make your business model around that type of a thing, is because what happens if you get sick? What happens if you're not available? Will your kids get royalties? Are you creating intellectual property that you value so much that you license it out so that people are paying you royalties consistently? The product is made. Whatever assets I make now, my goal over the next 5 years is to ensure that those assets pay for my daughter's future and her life. The only way that's going to happen is if I create stuff that she can get paid from after I die. How do I do that? Licensing, valuing my intellectual property, putting out products that I don't need to show up to deliver all the time, and then having a good plan to protect it, putting it all in trust, like things like that. So you want to make sure that you're planning for the long term. But here's the thing. When I first started my business, I wasn't thinking like this. I didn't think about this. One, I didn't hear people talking like this or about this, but also I didn't think about it because there is a part when you start your business where you're just trying to survive. Like you're trying to make your bills. And I get it. If you're there, I get it. But here's what I want you to consider. I want you to consider the fact that if you really, really, really believe in the future of what you're creating, then you will at least dream about the possibility of what it could be, right? You're going to at least dream about it. If you don't right now in your mind have a dream or a vision of how grand your life can be, it's a problem. Another thing that we're taught as children sometimes that I think we need to do away with is daydreaming is for kids. It's not. It's not. The reason why at Speak Your Way to Cash Live, we are debuting our Dreamer's Den. It's an exercise and experience that we're going to do with everyone who attends the event is because I find that most of the time adults get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day life that they do not take conscious time to dream about what life can be. And if you don't have a dream or a vision that is so alluring, so beautiful, so exhilarating, so motivating to you, then you get stuck in a rut. Now, I believe in dreaming, but I believe in working a plan. So we're not going to just dream at the event. We're also going to put a plan together so that you can get that life that you're dreaming about. I don't think it needs to stay there. I really don't. One of my clients was like, I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to take 6 months off. And I was like, just talk to your husband about it. Because honestly, Chris and I had just mapped out our 6 month sabbatical next year. We mapped it out. We were like, okay, we need to restructure this. We need to hire this person. We need to do this. We need to be at this point in reoccurring revenue. We need to make sure that we have a system for this, this, and this. And then we're going to take about 6 months. Yeah, we took 1 month this year and I loved it. I was like, whoa, this is great. And things still move. We still signed clients. We still did all of that. And so I don't want you all to think that because of where you're at now, you can't get to where you want to be. That's not the case. There are books, resources, podcasts. Listen to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. There are over 100 episodes of pure gold. My friend Odell is on here. He has an episode on there that was pure gold. So many people have amazing episodes on the podcast. Then I do solo episodes like this where we just chat and I talk to you all about some things that I'm thinking and considering now. I want you to share this video with every single person and tag every single person that needs motivation, encouragement, and that needs to be reminded to dream and that needs to know that their intellectual property, the stuff that comes out of their mind, has value. Their words carry weight, and that whatever they need to unlearn in order to get the value that is in their minds, in their hands, i.e. cash, they need to do that. I also want you to do me a favor and go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Bro, you should definitely come. Those that I may come to Speak Your Way to Cash Live. I got to check some dates for sure. Look, speakyourwaytocash.com/event and get your ticket for this life-changing experience now. It always sells out months in advance. Do not think because it's in November that you have time. You do not. Also, it's on early bird pricing right now, but the price will be going up, okay? So you want to take advantage of that early bird pricing if at all you can. And I want to see you there. You want to spend 3 days with me? If you like this live, this was 34 minutes. You want to spend 3 days with me and commit to giving me 3 days of your time and attention. It's like the first day is a half a day. But what a lot of people did last year that I liked is they rented a hotel room and made it happen. They dedicated 3 days to getting their life together. Speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Thank you so much for posting that link there. You can also get the information there because I want to see you. Let's spend 3 days together. Let's change our lives. Let's reimagine our futures. Let's figure out the language that moves sales conversations forward. I've done over 20,000 sales calls, worked at the largest companies in the world, companies and law firms in the world, helped and served on trial teams where we were dealing with billion-dollar cases on behalf of some of your favorite companies, some of which you carry in your wallet. We've done, I've had all these experiences and challenges and been able to overcome all these different things. And one thing that I know for certain is that God allowed me to see so much and to see the heights of so many professions and so many careers because he knew that I'm the type to come back and tell you guys step by step what that looks like for your business and your life, right? That I have an uncanny ability, and this is just me realizing what my gifts are. My gift is being able to look at something complicated and put it into steps. I was training an employee of mine recently, and I was like, no. Why is that the case? What's the strategy behind that? What is the strategy behind that? And that ability to dissect strategy from billion-dollar corporations is what I bring to my clients. It's what I'm bringing to the Speak Your Way to Cash live event. And I'm telling you all, this is going to be the best investment you make this year in terms of an event. There is not another one on the planet that is going to do what we're going to do over those 3 days. All right. So go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event, secure your ticket at the early bird rate, and I will check you guys out later.
All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have 2 ways for you to do that. One, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speak Your Way to Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome day.